Sage Forsaken here, and today we're looking at my custom cast heads for my Illuminite casting kit. This is part 2 of my video, and of course, as we look at this video, just be aware that, take a little bit of light off these guys. Basically, what we have here are some of the heads that I cast from this head. Now, this is a Rucker neck peg and a Reaper body. The idea is that they're going to make a ton, you're going to have a ton of Rucker bodies laying around that you don't really need. And you'll need heads that can actually go in there, since you only need so many Ruckers. You know, he's not a figure you can army build or anything. He's very specific to who he is. So the idea is to make army builders. So you can see here that some of these heads came out really good. Here is a head before I've removed some of the flashing. This head is probably just as good as this head in the most part, but the flashing is still on this head. I have to shave that off, and basically that's where the mold parts go together. And you know, basically, if this was in the mold, it would be sitting something like this. After I take it out of the mold, I have to take off the flashing. I usually remove these little bottom parts and shave down the neck peg part. Here's one where basically I had some air bubble get right at the edge of the mask. I'll probably have to sculpt to fix that instead of doing it another way. You know, it's already the air bubbles. And then of course here is another one mask. Now, one thing you'll notice is that some of these are looking really good after I shave off all the flashing. There's sometimes an air hole right at the back, because that's where I was having the clay hold the figure head up, and basically that caused it to have a place where air bubbles are likely to form. But of course you can fill that in or just paint over it, and probably would be very low noticeable. Now, I did not have dyes to make these specific colors. I saw online where people were using some acrylics, and I thought I would try that, and maybe with what they're using it works fine. But with Illuminite, you cannot use acrylics. Basically, it made this chemical reaction go on that made these things look terrible. This is a casted part, but it's all, you know, cast the same exact way as the other parts. But the problem is that I put some paint in there, and it basically ate the junk out of the, made a lot more bubbles is the problem. The chemical reaction did. So that ruined the part, in my opinion. And here's one where it looks almost like a melted Darth Vader type situation. Reaper did not make it in this one. He's got a bullet through his head, so or worse. Now, the other head I was making is this gas mask head. This is actually one that I painted already. Though one of the problems I ran into with the gas mask, the biggest problem is the gas mask, here's the original head, it has this nodule on the side, and the peg was so thin that it would just snap off. So I had to make another casting, and I put this clay on here, and this really did help keep the gas mask peg from breaking off from then on. You can see I've had all sorts of issues when what's happening is the casting material started leaking out the bottom of my set, but this would still be something cool you could have hanging on a wall or in a armory or something, even though the rest of it's kind of messed up. This one was almost a success. You can see that you get air holes in the gas mask. You can tell this is before I did this is one of the originals, because it has a straight peg instead of that angled peg. After I had the clay, you know, I had less problems with this, but I still would get an air bubble every once in a while. And of course, because I made my molds wrong, I made them like if I glued this down to a board, and if I glued the plastic cup down to a board, drilled a hole in the top, and then poured the casting material over it, I would have had a much better success rate. But what happened was, since I did it upside down, the casting material would leak out the bottom, and I sit there and have to put holes in the bottom so that I can pour casting material in from the top and put it into cups and stuff. Some of these did turn out pretty good, and some didn't. Like this one didn't have a neck. So if I was making a gas mask guy that was going on a ball peg or something, I could probably salvage this piece. Or like I said, putting a weapons kit or whatever. Here's one that turned out pretty good. I could easily salvage that little bitty air bubble there. And you can tell this was after I added some material. Here's another one without a neck. I really do have some of these that are good. But some of them are completely scary. Like this one. Like, because the material ran out at such a fast rate, I didn't pour enough to fix it. I basically have disintegrated gas mask. Anyway, so hopefully in the future, if I get more casting material, I'll make new molds and everything, and I won't have so many of the same problems I've had this time. Though I am still looking for other heads to use in this activity, and someone told me I should try smooth on because they said that these heads are really kind of hard acrylic, like you can hear tack 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 tack, and you know, I'm worried that how well they'll hold up, and of course being such a hard plastic, you know, and everything. But overall, I'm really happy that I got the casting kit in the first place. It's been a great experience to learn and try something new. I wish I'd had a little more casting material. I was only able to get 3 shot glasses worth of heads. Part of that's because it wasn't very well mixed, and when you first if you get an aluminite casting kit, be sure before you get started on your casting, your mold, that you really mix the shorter fat container up, because it had some stuff dragged in the bottom and I couldn't really use it for casting at that point. So in the future, I won't have that problem if I use more aluminite. And like I said, I'm getting some good success with this mold here, and because I did more of a zigzag cut pattern in the mold itself. So you can see that, you know, the stuff has more trouble leaking out, because it like locks it in place by doing that. The only problem I have with this one is I also have the hole where the clay was holding the head up there that I have to plug whenever I'm doing this. Anyway, I hope you found this interesting as far as you're interested in these heads and the idea behind them. Thank you for liking and subscribing. And reality this time, I really did have to pour on the plastic. Thank you.